Hi everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology. Thank you for joining me once again. Today we are going to talk about the Scorpio Full Moon for Twin Flames. Before that, I just have a couple of announcements that I want to make. First of all, I'm going to be teaching Reiki next month, level 1 on May 8th and level 2 on May 15th. And generally these two classes are taken together at the same time, but if you only want to take one, that's possible too, but just know that space is going to be limited. And, I think that Reiki gives a really great foundation as far as energy healing. If you're someone that doesn't know a lot about energy healing, when I do energy healing on people, I still use some of the information that I learned in Reiki. I use a lot of my own intuition as well, but I'm glad that I had that foundation. And another thing that I love about Reiki is that every time I've taken training, and I took my level 1 and 2 in 2014, I got my Reiki master teacher in 2019, and I recently did the online certification so I could teach it online. Every time when I've gotten the placement or the attunement, I've had an amazing experience, incredible visions, and it's really helped me level up my energy and increase my vibration. So even if you don't see yourself becoming a full-time energy healer, it's still great information to have and just to know about yourself. And you will learn how to do energy healing on yourself as well as others. And, you will receive a certificate as well. Oh, so yeah, I will link to that below in the description box if you would like more information about that. I also want to mention that there's someone on Instagram who calls themselves Twinstrology, and they are not me. I mentioned it at the end of my last video, but I want to mention it again. So just to make sure that people are aware, because this person has taken my work and the work of other people, and they are posting it as if it's their own. And yeah, I definitely want to put that out there because I feel it's wrong to post other people's work without crediting them. And I especially don't want the authors of that work to see that and to think that it's me trying to take credit for their work, because I would not do that. I'm also worried that this person might be soliciting readings and trying to impersonate me. I know that happens quite a lot to tarot readers and astrologers. And just know that I will never solicit you for a reading through direct message on Instagram or Facebook. I don't do that. If people want a reading with me, they will vibrate to me and they will find me. I don't come after you. So if someone has solicited you under Twinstrology, please let me know, and please know that that's not me. It has no connection to me, and you might want to unfollow them if you are following them. And I know a lot of people that follow me are following that account as well, because I recognize a lot of names on there. I want to thank everybody that has sent in donations to me. I'm very, very grateful. It really doesn't matter the amount, big or small, just the fact that you resonated with my work so much that you took the time to do that really touches my heart. And, some of you do that on a regular basis. And I just want to say, thank you so much. It means so much to me. And I want you to know that I truly, truly appreciate it. And lastly, I just want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you know when I post things. So first of all, blessed Beltane, everybody. We are coming up on May 1st, which is Beltane. Now, personally, I like to celebrate Beltane at the full moon closest to May 1st. I think of that as being traditional. It's also appropriate to celebrate it when the sun hits the 15th degree of Taurus, which usually happens on May 5th, and it happens on May 5th this year, because that represents the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. But whenever you celebrate it, it is the Hieros Gamos of the god and the goddess, and so it's a date that's very special to twin flames as well as pagans. And, usually with that energy, there's usually some kind of activation that happens as well. And, I feel like a lot of that will be connected to this full moon and the things that we're going to get into. So the full moon happens on the 26th of April at 11:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be at 7 degrees, 7 minutes of Scorpio. The sun will be at 7 degrees Taurus. And the Sabian symbols for the moon is a silver moon shining across a beautiful gem of a lake. Such a perfect Sabian because it is a full moon and it actually mentions the moon. Now, as far as the symbolism of the Sabian, I feel like it's definitely indicating that there's going to be some kind of reflection coming up for us. Some kind of mirroring is being shown. When I say reflection, it's like we see something about ourselves, like looking in a mirror, and we get some kind of understanding about a part of us. So you want to pay attention to anything like this coming up. Now, the ruler of the moon, which is Pluto, it's actually Mars and Pluto jointly, but here I want to speak particularly about Pluto because Pluto stations retrograde the day after on the 27th. So he is going to be in his shifting position at this full moon, and on the day of the 26th, the moon will be squaring Pluto as well as it travels through the end of Libra. That will be in the early morning hours of the 26th. So, well, first of all, up till now, all the planets have been in direct motion since Mercury went direct back in February. So this has been a really long time of having all the planets direct. And I'm sure a lot of you have been feeling like you've got to get stuff done. You've got to start new projects because there's a lot of creativity and excitement and expansion, and we want to move forward. Feeling right now, we've been making those preparations. And has Pluto, the first planet to station retrograde now, followed by Mercury at the end of May, then it's like we need to go within, we need to look in the mirror, we need to see our reflection and come to some understanding about what things are holding us back from taking all our creative energy and projects that we're working on to the next level. Now, the sun is on the Sabian symbol, a sleigh without snow. So this is another clear indication that something is not really moving forward because it's really hard to move a sleigh when there isn't any snow. And for many people, it's going to be coming up against fears. And those fears are causing a lot of internal conflict, especially for twins that embody the divine masculine. But as I talk about the divine masculine energy during this reading, do know that I'm talking about the divine masculine in all of us because we are definitely all feeling this shift here. So we're turning back with Pluto and we're going once again into our subconscious. And Pluto will be retrograde until October 6th. And, remember, Pluto is retrograde half the year. So this isn't something that you feel acutely for a week and then it goes away. It's we create a balance with the outer planets because half the time they're forward motion, half the time they're retrograde. They're very, very transformative planets. So luckily for us, they move very slowly, and that helps our transformation and our changes happen slowly so that we can cope with these things. And Pluto is going retrograde on the Sabian, a mountain pilgrimage. So yeah, going within to raise our consciousness and seeking higher awareness. And yeah, with this seeking, with this mountain pilgrimage, it's like we're seeking a resolution to the inner conflict that we're feeling as far as moving forward and confronting the fears that are making us feel a little bit unsure about moving forward. Now, and I want to say too that energy can be affecting the collective energies pretty strongly as well. So you might see that somehow reflected in the collective. Of course, the collective is undergoing an awakening, a very intense awakening this year as well as they did last year. So what we have at the full moon is a stellium in Taurus with the Sun, Uranus, Venus, Mercury, and Lilith. It's putting a lot of energy in the sign of Taurus. And this is creating an activation for us to change how we view ourselves. A lot of the energy in Taurus is connected to past life trauma. Then that past life trauma creates patterns, and these can be very stubborn patterns, which that is the energy of Taurus. But it's time to let them go. It's time to change these views of ourselves. And if we go back to that Sabian about the moon reflecting on the silvery lake and projections, how we think about ourselves is what we project onto other people. And then we think other people see us in the same way that we see ourselves, which is not always true. So you likely are going to get some ideas of where you're doing this, where your own views about yourself is being projected in your relationships and causing you to see something faulty with that relationship. And very likely this could happen with your twin flame connection, and you're going to see how something you feel about yourself that you're projecting onto your twin. So you think your twin is thinking this about you when actually they're not. And this creates a lot of problems in our relationship. So yeah, it's really important to heal that. With the moon being in Scorpio, as I've said before, to me, this is the sign of twin flames. And when we heal ourselves, then we heal so much of the codependence that we have in relationships. Scorpio tends to be that sign that's about soulmates and merging and wanting to become one with the other person, where Taurus is more about having our independence. And, obviously that's the twin journey, isn't it? Trying to find balance, trying to find who we are, having the right beliefs about ourselves, and having that independence while also learning to be in a relationship without getting lost in a relationship. But probably most of you watching have at one point or another gotten lost, become very codependent in a relationship, because that's a template that we're here to break, and we all are experiencing that in order to master it. But pay attention, to how you're viewing yourself and how you think others are viewing you. We also have the full moon in square to both Saturn and the asteroid Karma. So once again, clearly a lot of this energy is going to be connected to past lives. We're getting a lot of activations, releasing energy from a karmic level through our bodies. There's been a lot of activations coming in from the sun, solar flares, and things like that. So if you've been feeling tired, And it's funny because you can feel very tired, yet you cannot be sleeping very well. You might also be having very strange dreams and dreaming about people from the past. That can be another thing that's coming up. And these are just things that you're releasing and represent where you're feeling blocked. Authority figures is another thing that might come up for people, because that's certainly an indication when Saturn is in hard aspect. One of our challenges would be authority. And think about authority related to past lives as well as this lifetime. But there is a lot of relationship clearing happening right now. You know, how we view relationships and seeing those old patterns that just aren't serving us anymore. So I'm not sure that I actually said this in a past reading or not. I often, like, once I'm done with the reading, whether it's a collective or a private reading, like, it's completely gone out of my head. But there's so much divine masculine healing happening this year. I know that I've talked about that, if I didn't mention it specifically, has like being all year. But the more that I'm looking into astrology, the more I'm seeing that it's like happening like well into months ahead of us. And like I said, this is the divine masculine in all of us. If you are the embodier of the divine masculine, a lot of this might have to do with your twin flame relationship and how you're feeling about union. If you're the divine feminine, it's going to have a lot to do with your purpose and moving forward on your purpose. Of course, regardless, you know, either one can be feeling one, the other, or a combination of those energies. But a lot of what we're needing to shift around our divine masculine is that energy of going back and forth. You know, you want something, you want to do something, but you have trouble actually committing to it and moving forward on it because some sort of fear or pattern gets in the way. So it's getting more and more intense as we head into the summer solstice, that we need to confront some of these things. So if you're dealing with triggers, look and see how much of it is related to this aspect of the masculine, because the masculine tends to go back and forth. And I know I personally have been working on this so intensely since the end of November, and it's constantly being shown, like, why are you not just making a decision? Why are you holding back? Just let go, make the decision, and move on. Because I tend to be someone that likes to look at every angle and think about things, you know, really make sure that everything's in line. But that can really become a block, and it takes us out of our divine feminine energy. So this is totally under transformation. And what's happening at this full moon is we have Mars moving into Cancer a little bit before the full moon happens. And Mars is going to be in Cancer until June 12th. And, you know, it's not a great sign for Mars to be in. I believe it's Mars in his detriment. And it's where our masculine energy feels the most defensive. And, you know, I was shown the crab, you know, Cancer the crab. And not only does Cancer have a shell, right, that represents that armor or that fear of being vulnerable, but also crabs, they move easiest moving sideways. It's a little bit more difficult them to move forward, so they tend to move backwards or sideways. And that's kind of how our divine masculine energy has been moving, trying to get comfortable with this vulnerability aspect. Not fully going after things, but kind of moving side to side. that's representing, yes, the back and forth, but it's like you need some kind of guarantee. Like if I move forward, I really need a guarantee of what's going to happen. And again, we're breaking away from that. There are no guarantees in life. We have to just take that leap and trust that spirit has us. This is such an important aspect of the ascension process and such an important aspect of the divine feminine energy that wants to just go with the flow. And so I'm sure like many of you are very much at that place where I am, where I can go with the flow most of the time. But when it comes to, certain things, then that back and forth comes in. And what they showed me again was commitment. It's like, yeah, you want some guarantee in order to commit to something, but they're wanting us to just commit and trust without that guarantee. So, yeah, going back to that analogy of the crab, sometimes we don't move forward. We keep moving side to side until, what it is we're wanting is ready to be pulled out from under us. And I remember reading, oh my gosh, Linda Goodman's, she's got a book called Sun Signs. Sorry, I'm digressing, but she talks about this when she talks about the sign of Cancer, how the crab does not move forward until it feels like its prize is going to be pulled out from under them. And I feel like a lot of us are going to be feeling that way. And especially those that embody the divine masculine energy when it comes to their union. I'm getting that a lot. Like some of them feel that their twin might get tired of waiting and they're kind of on edge. They're feeling that inner turmoil because it's like, I don't know if I should move forward. I'm still afraid to move forward. I don't have everything thought out and planned out. Remember, that's what the masculine wants to do. It wants to have a plan and steps and know like what's happening. Yet at the same time, it's like being afraid that you're going to move too slowly and you're going to lose the thing that you want. So I feel like when Mars is in Cancer, that energy is going to be intensified for people. At the same time, like we're going to be seeing how we pull away from relationships, because we fear that, especially with a twin flame relationship, we fear that that is just too good to be true. And whether you're masculine or feminine, it's very hard to just let yourself go and let yourself just fully open to the connection without that guarantee from your partner that they're coming or that they care about you. So that is something else that's likely to be brought up. And this Mars in Cancer is going to take us right into eclipse season as well. And so very much letting go of that shell. I suspect it's going to be a very emotional time for our divine masculine selves. And of course, the divine masculine, not very good at dealing with emotion or expressing emotions. But our divine masculine is healing so much inner child wounding and patterns, including patterns with mother through this transit. And at the full moon, of course, Mars is the ruler, the co-ruler of the full moon because it's in Scorpio and he rules Scorpio. So the moon and Mars for that little time period will be in mutual reception. That means the moon's in Mars's sign, Mars is in the moon's sign. So they can kind of switch places. And so that has the ability to bring us some extra insight. And that will be like, the day of the full moon and a couple days after that. Another thing that's happening with the healing of the divine masculine is Osiris is entering Aries for a new astrological cycle. And of course, Osiris represents the divine masculine energy. Osiris is still in a very close conjunction with Horus as well. They're like 1 degree apart. And this I talked about in my 5 asteroid transits twins should watch in 2021. I will link the video below or post it here if you haven't watched that video yet and you want information on the Osiris-Horus conjunction. That conjunction is also going to be square to Mars, and Mars is also the ruler of Aries where Osiris is. So that also can be affecting the Mars energy. Now, the Osiris-Horus conjunction is awakening the masculine more, awakening the third eye energy. And this is helping them to connect to and trust in their divine wisdom and knowing that they are safe. I did have a vision earlier this week, actually, regarding what I'm talking about here with the divine masculine and how we're all learning to flow more with life instead of letting the fear of vulnerability from our divine masculine stop us from taking risks, especially when it comes to becoming authentic and putting ourselves out there a little bit. And what I saw was the divine masculine is getting activations within their third eye and their throat chakra. And the divine feminine is getting activations through the crown chakra and the root chakra. Very, very potent activations for the divine feminine through the crown chakra. And this is really expanding that divine feminine energy. I saw that energy coming in has like down from the crown and even from the soul star chakra and like in this big cocoon of energy, kind of like amplifying our aura. And it's very important to ground as well. That's why they were activating the root chakra too. Again, I think I talked about this in a video, I think my last full moon update video, but I want to mention it again here because it is so important for everybody to be grounded, but especially if you embody the divine feminine. Because as the divine masculine is awakening more and tuning into their intuition and their wisdom and connecting with past lives, they need to bring their vibration higher. Remember, they grounded the energy so that divine feminines could awaken, and now we need to stay grounded as the divine masculine passes through this energy. But it's also helping the divine feminine themselves, because with what we're bringing through, we need to ground this into the grid, and it's helping us even ground deeper with our higher self connection. So you might be feeling ungrounded, then you definitely really need to focus on this. For me, what my higher self told me to do at the beginning of the year was start doing yoga every single day. And I pretty much held to that, even if I can only do 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And it has so grounded me. I mean, I've changed a lot of things this year, but I think I can credit yoga the most with grounding me. But of course, getting outside is another good way. Crystals are a good way to ground. I'm never far from my black tourmaline or shungite. You can do grounding meditations, put your feet on the earth. I find salt baths can be pretty grounding too. But yeah, pay attention to how much you're in your body and try to bring yourself down. So I want to mention the asteroid Union as well, because Union is on a Sabian, a group of immigrants fulfilling their requirements to enter a new country, which I feel has to be showing us that unions are trying to enter into this new energy. And I think they're telling me that this goes with what I was even saying, like this flip in the energies where the feminine is becoming more grounded, allowing the masculine to explore the 5D more. So important for them to understand the 5D connection with their divine feminine. But yeah, I mean, the divine masculine, we're needing to become balanced in that area to balance our union and step onto that new timeline. Juno also went retrograde a few weeks ago, squaring Neptune and conjunct Union. Juno is conjunct Union, I think, all year. And that's another aspect that I talked about in that video, 5 asteroid aspects. I'm just bringing this up now because she recently went retrograde. I think it was maybe like around the second week of April. I wasn't able to do a new moon video that week because I was guided to travel and do some energy work. But this retrograde is confirming that we're re-looking at partnerships. It can trigger situations with karmic partners. And if you're in a karmic partner situation, you may be feeling more and more pressure to be free, especially with Mars being in Cancer. And okay, so when it comes to karmic partners, I feel like people are being pressured to kind of ask themselves, what do I want? And maybe not just with karmic partners, but maybe in general. What do I want in a relationship? And how can I get there? But remember, Juno and Union are conjunct the South Node, so it has so much to do with our past lives. Actually, they're not technically conjunct the South Node right now, but they were, and they will be again once they complete their retrogrades. So I don't feel, even though they're not exactly conjunct the South Node, that past life tension is there. So whether it's stuff coming up with your twin, but also stuff coming up with your karmic partner, because obviously that karma is pertaining to past lives that you've had with them. The last thing I want to mention is Pallas Athena, because she is on the 15 degree of Pisces. So 15 degrees, 15 minutes. And I really felt something with the numerology of that placement. Pallas Athena is about finding yourself, especially in regards to overcoming that idea of how other people see us and that worry about how other people see us and just really going for things. She's also on the Sabian symbol. In a quiet moment, a creative individual experiences the flow of inspiration. And this, I believe the Sabian played a big role in the last Mercury retrograde. So I wonder if that's going to connect with something that came up at Mercury retrograde. It's a possibility. That kind of energy of the bringing in our creativity is also being echoed by Vesta, conjunct Atlantis in Virgo. I think that's like the third aspect that I'm mentioning in this video. That's in the other asteroid video. But that Vesta conjunct Atlantis or Vesta retrograde in Virgo was about getting more in touch with how we're here to be of service in our own inner purification process. So through that energy, we become a much clearer channel to our higher self and to source energy. And now we're needing to let these channelings just flow through us. Palace represents our third eye chakra, which is connected to how we can download this channeled information. So think again about third eye activations. Think about what is your path and how you're following your path. Think about creative inspiration. You know, to fully utilize our creative energy, we have to be our authentic self. We can be super creative. You can paint, thousands of paintings, but if you never show anybody those paintings, then you're not really sharing your gift with the world. So, I'm using painting as an example, but it doesn't have to be that. Whatever your project is that you've been trying to bring forth, whatever you're trying to create, or possibly even your union, or something having to do with your union, you have to activate that creative flow of energy and then share that energy with other people. Can only do that when you are fully authentic. And that is very much part of all of this full moon energy and heading into the eclipses, which are only a month away, the first eclipse. So yeah, we're definitely already in the eclipse zone, kind of that zone of anything can happen. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If it resonated with you, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, hit the notification bell. Leave me a comment about how you're feeling or if you're getting any of these activations that I talked about in this reading. If you would like a personal reading with me or more information about me, my blog and all of that is on Twinstrology.com. Thank you so much. I'm sending you all so much love, and I will speak to you soon. Namaste.